Today we'll be talking about CSS, which is the way we style our HTML documents. Last video we talked about HTML, so if you have not watched that video, make sure you watch the video before we start this particular series. So let's get started. Okay, so last video we talked about HTML, which is the first thing you need to learn in front-end development. All right. And another important thing, or let me say the next thing we need to learn in front-end development is how we style our web pages. That is how we style our HTML properly. Okay, so we will learn almost everything about CSS, which is the way we style our HTML pages in this CSS series. And I believe after this tutorial or after this series, you will be familiar with CSS and you will know how to style your HTML pages properly. So let's get started. So guys, what is CSS? CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheets. CSS describes how our HTML elements are displayed on screen, paper, or in other media. CSS saves a lot of work and you can control the layout of the multiple web pages. Okay, let's go to our VS Code and the first thing we need to do is create a folder in your any directory. You can create a folder. I named my CSS course. Then inside that folder, let's create an HTML document. As we know during the last video, the way we create an HTML is the name, let's say index dot HTML. Okay, right. And I told you there's a shortcut in creating an HTML template. All right, instead of typing everything out, just type HTML and HTML5. All right, and enter. All right, so before we start CSS, we need to create a CSS file in this same folder. Let's say styles.css. All right, so this is the way we create a CSS file. We say styles.css. All right, so let's continue. So the next thing we'll be talking about is CSS syntax. All right, a CSS rule consists of a selector and a declaration block. So this is an example h1, a declaration block consisting of color, font size. Don't worry, I will explain this better. The selector points to the HTML element you want to style, and the declaration of block contains one or more declarations separated by a semicolon, just like this. Okay, don't worry, we'll go to our code and explain this better. Each declaration includes a CSS property and a value separated by colon. Multiple CSS declarations are separated with semicolon and declaration block are surrounded by curly braces. Okay, so let's go to our VS Code and let's show all this. Okay, so guys, before we start anything, the first thing we need to do is link the HTML document with your style sheets. Okay, or else anything you write in this styles.css is not going to work for your HTML. We need to link both of them together, and the way we do it is you say link tag, okay, rl style sheets, then href equals to, then the href will be the name of the style sheets, which is styles.css. okay, in our case, you make sure you close tag like this. All right, what's wrong? Okay, sorry, should be like this. Okay, So this is the way we link our style sheets with our HTML document. So now we can basically write any style. So before I show you what CSS syntax actually mean, let's write some HTML codes. Let's say a div tag. Okay, let's put h1. Let's say my first CSS code. Okay, and let's say a p tag. So subscribe to the channel. Okay, so this is just a simple code. All right, so like I said, CSS syntax consists of a selector and a declaration block. Okay, are we? So what it means that if we want to style this h1 tag, we'll take this h1. This h1 is a selector. We'll talk about, I'll explain what selector means very soon. Okay, so we'll say h1. Remember, it consists of a selector and a declaration block. So this is how we do a declaration block. We call it basic. Okay, then you can write your styles inside this call it basic, and it will apply to this HTML document. Okay, so and the way we write our style, okay, is write a name. Let's say color. This color is a name. Okay, then a column. All right, then you write the value of the color. The value is the color itself. Let's say red. Okay, and you end this with a semicolon. Okay, the reason why I put this semicolon is, so if you want to write, if for example I don't put this semicolon and I come here, come down, I say font size 20 pixels. All right, there will be an error. It won't work because each declaration is separated by a semicolon. Okay, so let's put a semicolon here. Let me remove this font size. All right, so let's save it. Let's display this in our browser. Let me show you how it is in our browser. But first of all, I want you to go to the extension tab here. All right, click and search for live server. Okay, this will save us stress of going to our documents and trying to open the HTML file from there. So just live server, make sure you install it. After you install it, this go live. All right, this go live tab will show, and you click on it. Okay, right, it's saying starting. Then it opens our HTML code directly in the browser. Okay, you can see our h1 tag is red. Right, so that's the basic on HTML syntax. Okay, next thing we'll talk about is CSS selectors. Okay, this is a very important aspect. So a CSS selector selects the HTML elements you want to style. CSS selectors are used to find or select the HTML elements to style. Okay, the CSS element selector, the element selector selects HTML based on the element name. Okay, let's just go to the code so I can explain this better. All right, so like I said earlier on, the CSS selector is used to select the HTML element you want to style. Okay, and there are three ways of choosing the way we want to style our HTML. Okay, so the first one is the CSS element selector, just like this, the one we did. This h1 is an element, this p tag is an element. So let's style this p tag now. Let's say p. All right, and this is the way you select using the element selector. Just write the tag you want to select, that is P, curly bracelet, then just write your value, the write your style. I mean, let's say color, right? Let's say, sorry, blue. Okay, when you come to the browser, you see it is blue. All right, so that's the way we style our HTML based on CSS element selector. Okay, the next way we style our HTML selector, it is the CSS ID selector. The CSS ID selector uses the HTML ID attribute. Okay, we talked about the HTML ID attribute in the last video, so let me show you what is meant. Okay, so now if you want to style a specific, okay, no, let me show you this. Let me create another h1 tag. Okay, do this. Let's create another h1 tag. Let's see, header 1. All right, so now we have two h1 tags. Okay, when we go to the browser, you see they are both red. All right, so what about if we just want this first one to be red and this one to be another color, let's say pink? Okay, so the way we select this particular one to give it pink is we use the ID selector. Okay, let's come here, and the way we give it an ID is we say ID, and let's just say header 1. Okay, so now in your style sheets, you come down, the way we select this particular ID, okay, we won't be using h1 any longer. We'll just copy this, then the syntax is we use the hash sign with the ID. Okay, so the hash sign with the ID. So now let's say color, let's say pink. All right, so come to the browser, you can see it is pink. The third way of selecting an HTML element is by using CSS, by using class name. I mean HTML class name. Okay, so let me demonstrate that by, let me create another p tag. Let's see, paragraph 1. Okay, let's copy this and paste it 2 more times. Let's see, paragraph 2 and paragraph 3. Okay, so let's go to the browser now. That's what we have. You can see all the paragraphs are blue in color. How about if we want paragraph 1 and 2 to be, let's say, black? Okay, paragraph 1 and 2 should be black. The way we achieve that is by using class name. Okay, so let me show you that. So let's give class of, let's say, p tag. Okay, you can give it any name. Let's copy this class, let's paste it here. All right, so now let's come to our styles of CSS. The way we access that style, that class name, is by using dot. Okay, we use a period, then the class name is p tag, then curly brackets. Okay, then you can write color, you say black, right? Black. Now let's go to our browser. Let's see what we have. You can see 1 and 2 paragraph, they are black. So I know you have a question like, why can't we use ID here instead? Or what is the difference between ID and class? Right, so the major difference is ID element is used to select a particular or a specific element, okay? But class selector, you can use it to select various elements, okay? For example, any class that has this p tag is going to be black, okay? If I put it here, see, and come to the browser, you see it's automatically black. But okay, but ID is used for one specific element that it is. You can't use this ID elsewhere. So that's basically everything about the HTML selector. Next important thing we're talking about is how to add CSS. Okay, there are three ways of inserting a style sheet. The first one is external CSS, second one is internal CSS, and inline CSS. Okay, so this particular one we have been doing so far is called external CSS, and it is the best way of adding CSS. All right, it is very neat. You have a different style sheets for your CSS codes and different document for HTML codes. But there's also another way of writing CSS, which is inline CSS. Okay, so for example, you can write a style for this paragraph inline. You say style, okay, let's say color purple. This particular method will still work. Okay, you see the paragraph 3 is purple. So this we use inline CSS maybe if you just need to quickly write a CSS in line of a element, okay? But the preferable way is the external CSS. And then there's another way of writing CSS, which is the internal CSS. So that way we write our style sheets in the heading, in the head of our HTML, okay? So let me create another tag. Let's say h3, okay? Let me give this tag a class name of header 3. Let me see header 3. Okay, so the way we use the inline internal CSS is we say period, okay, the normal way of accessing the class name, then let's say header 3 curly brackets. So it's basically the same way we are doing this external CSS. Let me copy this color, let's paste it here, header 3 color red. You can see it is red. So right, but this way of writing CSS is not a good way at all, okay? Because to make your HTML code longer, imagine we have different tags in our HTML and our style is like 100 lines, so it's not advisable to use this way. But the external CSS is the better way, okay? So let me just leave this just for reference purpose, okay? So the last thing we'll be talking about in this video is CSS comments, okay? We talked about HTML comments in the last video. So CSS comments is an important thing to do, you know, in case you are working with different developers and you want a particular you want your team members to know what this style is talking about, you write a comment, okay, and the shortcut of writing the comments is control and slash, okay, control key plus backslash. Okay, so you can see this particular comment is not affecting our code. It's just a way of explaining the code. All right, and it may help you when you are editing your source code later, so it's very useful. So let me say external styling. Okay, you can write anything in it. All right, so that's basically everything about this video. So in summary, we talked about what is CSS and CSS syntax, and I told you a CSS rule consists of a selector and a declaration block, just like this. And we talked about CSS selector. We select elements in three ways. First, the elements selector, the ID selector, and the class selector. Okay, and I told you how to add CSS, that there are three ways of adding CSS: the external, internal, and inline CSS. Alright, and lastly, we talk about the CSS comments. Okay, so if you like this video, please subscribe and watch the next video on the CSS series. Thank you.